We offer you deep historical information from history on YouTube channel. Subscribe. Now don't forget to turn on notifications. Libya, a chronicle of conflict and transformation. Prelude, a nation at a crossroads. Libya, a prominent North African nation, has witnessed a tumultuous past marked by political upheavals, economic challenges, and international interventions. The country's recent history, particularly the era of Muammar Gaddafi's rule, stands as a complex chapter that has profoundly shaped its present and future. Muammar Gaddafi, the rise of a revolutionary. Muammar Gaddafi emerged as a charismatic and enigmatic figure in Libya's political landscape. Born in 1942 in a Bedouin tent near Sirte, Gaddafi's upbringing in a nomadic environment instilled in him a deep sense of tribalism and a disdain for external influences. After graduating from the University of Benghazi with a law degree, Gaddafi pursued military training in the United Kingdom. His exposure to socialist and nationalist ideologies influenced his political worldview and sowed the seeds of his revolutionary aspirations. The Libyan Revolution, a coup d'etat, and the birth of the Jamahiriya. On September 1, 1969, Gaddafi and a group of young military officers staged a bloodless coup d'etat, overthrowing the monarchy of King Idris I. The young revolutionaries established the Libyan Arab Republic and appointed Gaddafi as its leader. Inspired by his unique political philosophy, which he termed the Third Universal Theory, a synthesis of Islam, socialism, and Bedouin tribalism, Gaddafi set out to transform Libya into a socialist state. He nationalized major industries, redistributed land to the poor, and implemented ambitious social welfare programs. In 1977, Gaddafi proclaimed Libya as the Great Socialist People's Libyan Arab Jamahiriya, a state based on a system of popular committees and consultative assemblies. This system, however, lacked democratic accountability and effectively concentrated power in Gaddafi's hands. The Gaddafi years, a tale of wealth, repression, and international isolation. Under Gaddafi's rule, Libya experienced a period of economic prosperity fueled by its abundant oil reserves. The country's GDP grew exponentially, and citizens enjoyed free healthcare, education, and generous social benefits. However, beneath the veneer of prosperity lay a dark undercurrent of repression and human rights abuses. Gaddafi's regime was known for its brutal suppression of dissent. Political opponents faced imprisonment, torture, or exile. The media was censored, and freedom of expression was severely curtailed. The Libyan leader's eccentric behavior, including his grandiose claims and theatrical public appearances, alienated many foreign governments and observers. Libya's international relations were strained by Gaddafi's support for various terrorist groups, his involvement in regional conflicts, and his nuclear weapons program. In response, the United Nations imposed sanctions on Libya, further isolating the country from the global community. The Arab Spring, Libya in revolt. The wave of Arab Spring uprisings that swept across North Africa and the Middle East in 2011 had a profound impact on Libya. Protests erupted in the eastern city of Benghazi and spread like wildfire throughout the country. Gaddafi's forces responded with brutal force, killing hundreds of civilians. The international community condemned the violence and imposed a no-fly zone over Libya, providing cover for rebel forces to advance. The NATO intervention, a controversial intervention. In March 2011, the United Nations Security Council authorized military action in Libya to protect civilians from Gaddafi's regime. A NATO-led coalition launched a series of airstrikes, targeting government troops and military installations. The NATO intervention, while helping to protect civilians and weakening Gaddafi's grip on power, was also criticized for civilian casualties and the subsequent power vacuum it created. The fall of Gaddafi, a grisly end. After months of fighting, rebel forces aided by NATO airstrikes entered Tripoli, Gaddafi's stronghold, in August 2011. The Libyan leader fled the city but was captured and killed by rebel forces on October 20, 2011. Gaddafi's gruesome death marked the end of his controversial rule and the dawn of a new era for Libya. However, the country's path to stability and democracy proved to be fraught with challenges. Post-Gaddafi Libya, a fragmented nation. In the aftermath of Gaddafi's fall, Libya descended into a state of chaos and fragmentation. Rival militias and political factions vying for power established their own fiefdoms, leading to a breakdown of law and order. The country's oil production, the lifeblood of its economy, was disrupted due to violence and sabotage. Foreign investors and businesses fled, plunging Libya into an economic crisis. The rise of ISIS, a new threat. Amid the chaos and instability, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS, gained a foothold in Libya. Taking advantage of the power vacuum, ISIS established a base in the coastal city of Sirte and launched a campaign of terror, carrying out beheadings, bombings, and kidnappings. The Libyan government and international forces struggled to contain the threat posed by ISIS. In 2016, a US-led coalition launched airstrikes against ISIS positions, helping to weaken the group. However, ISIS remnants continue to operate in the country, posing a persistent security threat. The search for stability, failed elections, and international intervention. Libya held its first post-Gaddafi elections in 2012, but the results were inconclusive. The country became mired in political gridlock, with rival factions claiming legitimacy and refusing to compromise. The international community attempted to mediate a solution, but their efforts yielded little progress. In 2014, competing governments were established in Tripoli and Tobruk, further dividing the country. The Libyan Civil War, a proxy conflict. As the political stalemate persisted, Libya descended into a full-blown civil war. The two rival governments, backed by an array of militias, fought for control over territory and resources. Regional powers, such as Egypt and the United Arab Emirates, intervened on one side, while Turkey and Qatar supported the other. The civil war became a proxy conflict, drawing in foreign powers and exacerbating the country's instability. The Haftar offensive, military escalation, and international condemnation. In 2019, Khalifa Haftar, a powerful military leader based in eastern Libya, launched an offensive to capture Tripoli. Haftar's self-styled Libyan National Army, LNA, was supported by Egypt and the United Arab Emirates. The offensive drew widespread international condemnation as it threatened to plunge Libya into an even deeper crisis. The United Nations, European Union, and African Union all called for an immediate ceasefire and a return to political dialogue. The LNA's defeat and the ceasefire agreement. Haftar's offensive failed to achieve its objectives and was eventually repelled by forces loyal to the Tripoli-based government. In 2020, a ceasefire agreement was signed, bringing a temporary halt to the fighting. The ceasefire paved the way for a new round of negotiations between the rival factions, facilitated by the United Nations. In 2021, an interim government of national unity was formed, led by Abdul Hamid Dbeibeh. The path to reconciliation, challenges and prospects. Libya's path to reconciliation and stability remains challenging. The country faces a daunting task of rebuilding its shattered institutions, demobilizing militias, and holding perpetrators of human rights abuses accountable. The international community has a crucial role to play in supporting Libya's transition and preventing the country from sliding back into chaos. Continued financial assistance, technical support, and diplomatic mediation are essential for Libya to overcome its challenges and build a democratic and prosperous future. Conclusion: Libya's unfinished revolution. Libya's journey since the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi has been one of turmoil, setbacks, and glimmers of hope. The country has grappled with instability, violence, and international intervention, but it has also taken steps towards reconciliation and democratic transition. The path ahead will undoubtedly be strewn with challenges, but Libya's people deserve a chance to build a nation that lives up to its potential. With the support of the international community and the dedication of its citizens, Libya can emerge from the shadows of the past and forge a brighter future for itself. We offer you deep historical information from history on YouTube channel. Subscribe. Now don't forget to turn on notifications.